Okay, Berakhot 3a. There is a contradiction between one statement of Rabbi Meir and the other statement of Rabbi Meir. The Gemara responds, two Tanaim, students of Rabbi Meir, express different opinions in accordance with Rabbi Meir's opinion. So too the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer cited in the Mishnah contradicts the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer cited in the Berakhot. In the Mishnah, Rabbi Eliezer holds that the time for the recitation of Shema begins with the emergence of the stars, from the time when the priests enter to partake of their terumah. While in the Berakhot, he states that the time for the recitation of Shema begins with the day become sanctified on the eve of Shabbat. The Gemara responds, there are two possible resolutions to the apparent contradiction in Rabbi Eliezer's opinion. Either two Tanaim express different opinions in accordance with Rabbi Eliezer's opinion, or if you wish, say instead that the first clause of the Mishnah, according to which we begin to recite Shema when the priests enter to partake of their terumah, is not actually Rabbi Eliezer's opinion. Only the second half of the statement, until the end of the first watch, was stated by Rabbi Eliezer. In the Mishnah, we learn that Rabbi Eliezer establishes that one may recite the evening Shema until the end of the first watch. These watches are mentioned in the Bible as segments of the night, but it must be established into precisely how many segments is the night divided, 3 or 4. Moreover, why does Rabbi Eliezer employ such inexact parameters rather than a more precise definition of time? Tosafot Harosh. What does Rabbi Eliezer actually hold? If he holds that the night consists of 3 watches, let him say explicitly that one recites the evening Shema until the 4th hour. If he holds that the night consists of 4 watches, let him say explicitly until the 3rd hour. The Gemara responds, actually, Rabbi Eliezer holds that the night consists of 3 watches, and he employs this particular language of watches in order to teach us there are watches in heaven and there are watches on earth. Just as our night is divided into watches, so too is the night in the upper worlds. As it was taught in a Berakhot, Rabbi Eliezer says, the night consists of 3 watches, and over each and every watch, the Holy One, blessed be He, sits and roars like a lion in pain over the destruction of the temple. This imagery is derived from a reference in the Bible. As it is stated, the Lord roars, Yishag, from on high. From his holy dwelling he makes his voice heard. He roars mightily, Sheag Yishag, over his dwelling place. He cries out like those who tread grapes against all the inhabitants of the earth. Jeremiah 25:30. The 3 instances of the root Shin, Aleph, Gimel in this verse correspond to the 3 watches of the night. And signs of the transition between each of these watches in the upper world can be sensed in this world. In the first watch, the donkey brays. In the second, dogs bark. And in the third, people begin to rise. A baby nurses from its mother's breast, and a wife converses with her husband. With regard to these early manifestations of the three heavenly watches, as established in the Berakhot, the Gemara asks, what did Rabbi Eliezer enumerate? If he enumerated the beginning of the watch, why do I need a sign for the beginning of the first watch? It is when evening begins, an additional sign is superfluous. If he enumerated the end of the watches, why do I need a sign for the end of the last watch? It is when day begins. An additional sign is similarly superfluous. The Gemara answers, rather, he enumerated the signs for the end of the first watch and the beginning of the last watch, both of which require a sign, as well as the middle of the middle watch. And if you wish, say instead he enumerated the ends of all of the watches. And if you say that a sign indicating the end of the final watch is unnecessary because it is day, nevertheless the sign is useful. What is the practical ramification of this sign? It is relevant to one who recites Shema while lying in a dark house, who cannot see the dawn, and who does not know when the time for reciting Shema arrives. That person is provided with a sign that when a woman speaks with her husband and a baby nurses from its mother's breast, the final watch of the night has ended, and he must rise and recite Shema. Rav Yitzhak bar Shmuel said in the name of Rav, the night consists of 3 watches, and over each and every watch the Holy One, blessed be He, sits and roars like a lion. Because the temple service was connected to the changing of these watches, Tosafot HaRosh, and says, woe to me, that due to their sins I destroyed my house, burned my temple, and exiled them among the nations of the world. Incidental to the mention of the elevated significance of the night watches, the Gemara recites a related story. It was taught in a Berakhot that Rabbi Yosef said, I was once walking along the road when I entered the ruins of an old, abandoned building among the ruins of Jerusalem in order to pray. I noticed that Elijah, of blessed memory, came and guarded the entrance for me and waited at the entrance until I finished my prayer. When I finished praying and exited the ruin, Elijah said to me, deferentially as one would address a rabbi, greetings to you, my rabbi. I answered to him, greetings to you, my rabbi, my teacher. And Elijah said to me, my son, why did you enter this ruin? I said to him, in order to pray. And Elijah said to me, you should have prayed on the road. And I said to him, I was unable to pray along the road, because I was afraid that I might be interrupted by travelers and would be unable to focus. Elijah said to me, you should have recited the abbreviated prayer instituted for just such circumstances. Rabbi Yosei concluded, "At that time, from that brief exchange, I learned from him 3 things. I learned that one may not enter a ruin, and I learned that one need not enter a building to pray, but he may pray along the road, and I learned that one who prays along the road recites an abbreviated prayer so that he may maintain his focus." And after this introduction, Elijah said to me, "What voice did you hear in that ruin?" I responded, "I heard a heavenly voice, like an echo of that roar of the Holy One. Blessed be he, Maharsha, cooing like a dove and saying, 'Woe to the children, due to whose sins I destroyed my house, burned my temple, and exiled them among the nations.' And Elijah said to me, 'By your life and by your head, not only did that voice cry out in that moment, but it cries out 3 times each and every day. Moreover, any time that God's greatness is evoked, such as when Israel enters synagogues and study halls and answers in the Kaddish prayer, may his great name be blessed, the Holy One, blessed be he, shakes his head and says, 'Happy is the king who is thus praised in his house.' When the temple stood, this praise was recited there. But now, how great is the pain of the father who exiled his children, and woe to the children who are exiled from their father's table, as the pain only adds to that of their father." Rabbi Shem Tov Ibn Shaprut. The sages taught, for 3 reasons one may not enter a ruin: because of suspicion of prostitution, because the ruin is liable to collapse, and because of demons. 3 separate reasons seem extraneous. So the Gemara asks, why was the reason because of suspicion necessary? Let this halakha be derived because of collapse.